Right, this is going to be stock talk. I'm going to be completely honest. I have no clue what's going on or why. I think that this still inevitably, in my opinion, falls, fades aggressively. But we continue to rally into May. Obviously, we had the end of month kind of buybacks yesterday. That's not surprising. But to me, this is just very unhealthy behavior. Um, the volume and the structure and the price action and when we look at a lot of individual names and sectors don't correlate with this continuing to run like it is. Same thing with QQQ. Very one-sided rally, not like not very structured. And to me it's more than likely passive sellers awaiting some kind of catalyst event. Because this isn't so much of a slow grind as much as it is an aggressive rally. You have some subsequent consolidation that happens here, but it's so gross. And we have a dark pool in an after hours or pre-market session from the 14th at 670. We have a gap to fill. We didn't retest the previous highs. I don't like this. I'm still short semiconductors, although I am down. I took a lot of my ads too aggressively around here. We run it up. I get some more ads here. Um, I'm like getting into the green, and now I'm back red. But this is just very, very gross when I think about the structure and the behavior. And I do think that when it comes to semiconductors, we still, I have a 3x leverage. I think we still trade around 15 to 20% lower from right here, which would give me still about a 30 to 40% win. Um, but this is just really gross price action. We see the rally, the influx of volume, like a subsequent 8% decline, I think, 6% decline. And then kind of a divergent pop into a fade of these highs in the gap fill. We look at XLF. I still do like XLF. We do have a bidder off of this 5132 spot, which is a pivotal point from earlier or from last year. But this gets you a really nice move of 3.5% from the 618 failure and this gap fill right here. I still do think this can revert a little bit more. But then we go ahead and we look at XLP, looking very constructive off of the 618 and just looking very structured and appealing for alongside. And when we look at XLV, this is getting bid. We have this kind of rally and this digestion that happens here. And we compare that to XLF. We compare that to XLK. We look at XLE, which is not done yet, in my opinion, when we think about the energy rally, because we have the run up. We don't really have a big time campaign and change of hands, more or less an exhaustion and a stall of the rally, and then kind of a sell that is bid subsequently into a higher low that we're going to find when we think about energy. I don't think it's done quite yet. But we look at names. I mean, Google gets a gap up off the report. Amazon gets a pretty ugly candle off the report. Tesla gets a constructive internal high. I do think that Tesla and ARKK could run a little bit. I've said that again. We have like a 3 lower low accumulation within this rally off the April event last year. And we're now finding a potential like 2 inside bar weeks. I don't mind Tesla so much for a little bit of a run up to the 400s, but not a focus of mine. Nvidia, 182 days, half of a year to make a 2.2% new all-time high, where we subsequently fade almost 9% in 3 days, 4 days. This is gross. I mean, this is going to give you a really notable footprint on a weekly candle. We see like the attempt at a higher low found and really like weak run up into this failure at new highs. And that's why semiconductors, I think, are just so weak. Microsoft still probably sees a little bit higher to the 440 to 450 range. AMD, I mean, this is not appealing to me, man. And we have the report next Tuesday after hours. We'll look at LLY. I'm a little upset that I cut my position. I would be back green right now, but I cut it at around a 10% loss to buy more XOXX short exposure. Obviously would have gone down. I mean, I cut it off open here. I would have gone down another 20%, so I'm not really concerned. But this is phenomenal. The highest volume since the rally we had in October, and we find the higher low, the accumulation, the rally, the reaccumulation. We find the higher low in this kind of bar by bar imbalance and off of the 618. And discount, just a phenomenal chart. A longer term buy here, like I wouldn't mind adding into ELIL or LLYX incrementally throughout here and just commons in general, because I think this can run to that 1100 range and offer an options trade off like a path of least resistance through 966. If we can sit underneath this 2024 highs level, where we have the previous seller that, we had the rally, and that seller kind of saw some legs here that were incrementally bid nonetheless, but he's very present around this range as we can see. So if that range can kind of be absorbed, that would be ideal. Or maybe we can get like a base off of it internally. But phenomenal looking chart, phenomenal looking consolidation here. Not really much else, man. I mean, really like short semiconductors, long LLY. A little upset I cut my position, yeah, but I'm not concerned. I think I can trade it again, and if I miss out on it, it's whatever. It was a longer term focus for sure. And I still do think that a short position on semiconductors pays, man. I mean, obviously, it's not very important, but you look at the volume that's pouring in down here on SOXX. Let's look at NVDS. This is kind of constructive as well. I still think that this runs. I mean, if I'm down 15, 20%, I still think that this runs to 363, a 22% decline if we can get that in the next couple weeks. I think something happens. I don't think that this is healthy behavior. This is going to give you like a hanging man look, which is not a healthy, like, what's it called? Hammer. This is a hanging man where we see a leg and we see a weak bid that gives you a decent weekly closure that's green, but it's not structured and it's not strong as far as from a buyer's perspective. So this is not an appealing chart. I do still think that we fade when I think about the equity market. Now, this could just retest new highs and rally for a summer of George. This could find a higher low in here. I don't know. I do know that this has diverging volume patterns. This is very weak and ugly. Yes, I'm down on my short. I don't care because I think that I can still run this 40 to 50% in the next couple of weeks on a semiconductor short that breaks down 20% from the highs, which would be a 60% gain on my short position. This is very unstructured, very weak volume-wise. We see VIX making a nice decline, which is very appealing. This just happened to be a little bit more extensive, right? Now, if you're short up here, that's smart, but you have to be careful with it. You don't want to get short all throughout this rally when we're not past the apex and of expiration, because you're not in that window where the probability is higher for a decline. If you're getting short up here, buying some June exposures, being passive and patient and waiting to jump the gun, that's smart. If you're buying like a leveraged ETF exposure, that's smart, right? But if you're short down here, that's fucking stupid, right? Why would you be short at the end of March into the buyback where we see the notable bids, where we see gaps filled, where we see lows taken out, where we see capitulation happen, where we see a gap up and a rally on the 31st, that buyback, and then we see the run up? That's just stupid, right? There was a risk to reward long side down here, which I capitalized on Microsoft, and I think that there's a risk to reward short side down here, and we'll have to see how 697 acts, we'll have to see how 670 acts, same with 637, same with like 615. But there was an edge short side here, or long side down here for sure. Take out a lot of important liquidity, and we fill and sweep a lot of gaps, and the behavior that was developing down there was bullish, but we can't be too aggressive. We have to wait for the windows to open up that are vulnerable short side. So yeah, I still like shorts. It's just being cautious with them and being patient. I do think that this pays nonetheless, but I think that you have to be cautious and patient. 100%, right? So still short. LLY looks phenomenal.